Today we're going to be once again continuing our division mock draft series with the AFC West in this video, the Raiders, Broncos, Chargers, and Chiefs. And I think we'll just get straight into the video, not waste any time, see who the first 5 picks before the first pick with the Raiders at 6. So we'll start this draft real quick. And it went Cam Ward, Shedeur, Travis Hunter, Mason Graham, and Ashton Jeanty are the first 5 picks. Now, Abdul Carter is right here. It's not a team need, but we're not going to draft we can't draft Ashton Jeanty. There's no other running back to take. Without drafting Mason Graham, there's no other D lineman to take at 6. We're not going to go with Malachi Starks at 6 or any of the other DBs here. We're not going to go Jahad Campbell. We're not going to go Will Johnson. It's either McMillan or Abdul Carter. And I know we have, looking at the Raiders depth chart, I know they extended Max Crosby, but Tyree Wilson hasn't necessarily worked out. Malcolm Kuntz is just a solid player, nothing crazy. I think we go Abdul Carter here. I know it doesn't necessarily make the most sense. Probably what makes sense here is McMillan. But spoiler, I took him in the AFC East mock draft to the Patriots. So I don't know if I want to take the same player back to back. So I'm going to go Abdul Carter here. He may not be the biggest need for the Raiders, but he's clearly the best player available. And that's sometimes what these teams do and should do anyway. So I'm going Abdul Carter to the Raiders at 6. We got a wild to our next pick with the Broncos at 20. Look at the Broncos depth chart. Obviously, it says they need a receiver, and you could definitely notice that. They pretty much just have Courtland Sutton and I guess Marvin Mims. Their tight end is probably fine with Evan Ingram, and even Adam Troutman's a quality tight end. Their O-line, it says they need a center. But yeah, they could use center. Luke Wattenberg, I don't know if he's it. But their tackles are pretty good with Bowles and McGlinchey. Quentin Miners is a really good player. It says they need running back because, yeah, they do just have Estime and I like McLaughlin, but I don't know if he's your number one guy. So you could go with like a Marion Hampton at 20 here. Defensively, they don't really need too much because their linebackers with Singleton, Dre Greenlaw, and Nick Pitino are honestly perfect. You don't really need to touch those guys at all, as well as Jonathan Cooper. Like, you don't need to make a single change to your linebackers. You have Franklin Myers, who's an okay player. Zach Allen was great last year. DJ Jones is a good player. Their secondary, maybe you could use another corner to pair alongside Riley Moss and PS2. You don't necessarily need a safety because you got Hufanga. I think the easy pick here is receiver or halfback. It's either Hampton or Luther Burden, or I guess Emeka Ibuka as well. But I think Luther Burden's the obvious pick of those 3. So I'm going to go with the Broncos, Luther Burden. I take Luther Burden a lot of these because the CPU draft never takes Luther Burden, so you can always get him. But anywho, Chargers are next. Says they need receiver, tight end, and D-line. Looking at their depth chart, obviously they could use receiver because they have McConkey, who's great. Mike Williams, who they brought back, he's just okay. He's a good receiver to have. Like, he's good depth to have. Not necessarily like, a top-end receiver anymore, but he's still good depth. Quentin Johnson, still don't know what he's going to be. It says they need tight end, and they very well could because their best is Will Dissly and Tyler Conklin. Although Will Dissly did have some good stretches of games, if I remember correctly. And they also says they need D linemen. Yeah, because they lost Poona Ford to the Rams, I'm pretty sure. So it's just Tier Tart that they have. I think Poona Ford was on the Chargers. They did bring back Khalil Mack, but they could use another pass rusher as well because they lost Bosa. Their secondary is honestly pretty good with Dante Jackson, Derwin, Tarib Steele. They could use a corner as well, but I think it's either pass rusher, receiver, or tight end. You still got guys like James Pierce, Donovan Ezra-Rockwell available. Unfortunately, there is no... McMillan went 14. Tyler Warren went 9, so can't go those guys. Could go a Marion Hampton as well, but they did just sign Najee Harris. Don't know if he necessarily stops them from drafting a running back, but I don't think they go running back, at least without Genty. Obviously, he's not on the board. You could go Mike Green as well. I did just forget Mike Green's here. So Mike Green or James Pierce is probably the pick, because although edge isn't their number one need, the two best players available are pass rushers. So I think it's one of these two pass rushers, or I guess Emeka Egbuka. But Emeka Egbuka is a slot guy, and so is McConkey. So I don't know if you want to go with Emeka Egbuka. I don't know if he necessarily fits the team. I'll go James Pierce here. Well, I mean, I'll go Mike Green. I'll go Mike Green to the Chargers at 22. It's a toss-up. Who would they take if they go pass rusher? I'll just give them Mike Green. Chiefs are up at 31. It says here they pretty much just need O-line and D-line, honestly. And that's pretty obvious. Their O-line was terrible. They do still have Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith. And they did sign Jalen Moore, who's a quality player as well. So they probably need right tackle and left guard. And then on defense, they did lose Tershawn Wharton to, I think, the Panthers. So they could obviously use some help next to Chris Jones, because they're good on the pass rushers with Dana and Karlaftis, and even Amenahu. Linebackers, they were able to bring back Nick Bolton, so you're probably good still with him, Chenal, and Tranquil. And their secondary, they did bring in Christian Fulton to replace, or no, they still have Jalen Watson, McDuffie, Christian Fulton, Shamari Connor. It's not a bad secondary. Maybe you could use a safety, but so yeah, probably safety, D tackle, or O lineman. I mean, I think you have to go O lineman if the right guy is available, just because how bad their O line was. They lost the Super Bowl because of their O line for the second time. D tackle wise, there's guys like Derek Harmon, Darius Alexander, T.J. Sanders, Tyleik Williams. I mean, you could go tight end, get Travis Kelce's future replacement, Colston Loveland. There is still Connor Lee. That's probably the tackle you go with if you go tackle. There is no Tyler Booker, so you probably don't go guard here. I think James Pierce is tempting to get James Pierce as well. But I just don't think you need James Pierce as much as you need O-line. I think it's got to be Josh Connerly here. He is a left tackle, though. And Jalen Moore, who they just signed, is a left tackle. So maybe you don't want Josh Connerly. Ariante Ursery played left tackle. I mean, they probably could play the other side. But do you want to make them make that transition? I don't know. I'm not going to worry too much about fit. I'm just going to worry about that the Chiefs need O-line and that Connerly's the best tackle available. I'm going Josh Connerly to the Chiefs at 31. Raiders are up at 37. We got them Abdul Carter again. Maybe not the best fit-wise, but if he's available, you got to go with him. Unfortunately, Hampton did not fall to us at 37. Would have been great. Receivers-wise, it says we need receiver. Obviously there's Jack Beck, Jaden Higgins, Restrepo, Trey Harris. I don't mind a Beck or Higgins here. Corners, you do still got guys like Trey Amos and Maxwell Harrison, who don't, you could take at 37. You're not going to go Colston Loveland, obviously, because you got Brock Bowers and even Michael Mayer. They did also sign Ian Thomas, but it's pretty much just Brock Bowers. They should probably trade Michael Mayer, but that's a different topic. You could go linebacker because they did lose Robert Spillane. So you don't really have anybody next to Landon Roberts. So you could go linebacker here with Demetrius Knight. But I think they need to go receiver if they can, because it's just Jacoby Myers. Because they do still have, they brought in Raheem Mostert as their halfback. I mean, looking at the halfbacks, you still do have guys like Scatabo and Judkins and Johnson and Sampson. But I think you go receiver, because it's just Jacoby Myers. And I'm going to go best receiver. I'm going to go Jack Beck out of TCU to the Raiders. Next is the Broncos at 51. Got them Luther Burden earlier. They need center. I mean, you could go Jared Wilson, but I don't know if you want to do that. D lineman, they've kind of gone off the board. It's now just Shamar Turner, who, he makes sense at that spot. But I like running back here, because now this is when you get in the range of the running backs of the, Caleb Johnson just went at 48 here, because it's just Jaleel McLaughlin. Do you go Judkins or Scatabo here? Judkins is the more elusive back. Scatabo's the more power back. I'm going to go Scatabo. I'll give the Broncos Cam Scatabo at 51. Chargers are next at 55. Got the Mike Green in the first round. Now we look, because the receiver, it was Emeka Egbuka, who kind of plays slot just like McConkey. And Restrepo is also a slot receiver, so you probably don't go him. And Trey Harris might be a little bit of a reach, so I don't know if you go receiver. If you're the Chargers here. Tight ends, any good tight ends available? Elijah Roro, Harold Fannin. Do you take those guys at 55? I think they could be available at 86. Maybe go tight end at 86. We could just go best player available that fits a need and go Shamar Turner here. Do we need linebacker? Because you have Dayon Henley, Tua Pelotu, and Denzel Perriman as your sort of... Or no, Tua Pelotu is probably a pass rusher, I imagine, since Khalil Mack's a linebacker, because it's a 3-4. Your off-ball linebackers are Perriman and Henley. You probably just go best player available and get Demetrius Knight. Right? I imagine that's because you don't need corner. You don't need running back, I don't think. It's Shamar Turner or Demetrius Knight. I'm going to go Demetrius Knight. It doesn't say they need linebacker, but I think they could use it, and he's the best player available. Chiefs got them Connerly again. Don't know if the fit's necessarily great, but they just need tackle so bad that I'm kind of okay with it. There is Shamar Turner. First thing I noticed, need D-line, one of the better players left on the board. So I kind of like Shamar Turner. Halfback, they don't really need it. They got Kareem Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco. They could go guard here as well. It's probably down to safety, D-tackle, or guard. Is Kevin Winston's here, but again, maybe a little bit of a reach. They do have 66 as well. So, since they have a pick and 3 picks, I'm just going to go best player available. That fits our need. Give me Shamar Turner at 63. And they're back up on the clock. So now we have Connerly and Shamar Turner. Do we go Mason Taylor, get one of the tight ends? Do we go with a pass rusher, Kyle Kennard or Josiah Stewart? Or do we go interior line and get Tate Ratledge? I think we go Tate Ratledge. I know it might be a bit of a reach here, but the O-line's so bad, I'm going to go Tate Ratledge to the Chiefs at 66. Raiders are next up at 68. Got them an edge and receiver in Carter and Beck. I don't even know if I'm saying his name right, but it's got to be Quinshon Judkins. Because look at this. There's no corner that you're taking here. It's got to be Quinshon Judkins. You could go Omar Norman Lott as you need a D lineman, but it's got to be Quinshon Judkins. They need halfback, best halfback on the board. It's got to be Quinshon Judkins. Broncos are next up at 85. We went all offense so far for Denver. Again, looking at their depth chart. So we got a receiver. We got a halfback. Could go center here. Interior O-line. Again, probably don't have to go defense. You could get a 3-4 D end. I don't know if Jordan Phillips is a 3-4 D end necessarily. But I think you go lineman. Oh, but Jared Wilson just went. Do you go with Willie Lampkin? He plays right guard for you. And if you look at your depth chart, it is Quinn Minor's position. You probably more need a center. I mean, he's played center. Played a bit of center his freshman season. But I don't know if those guys are worth it. I think you just build up on D lineman. And I think you go Jordan Phillips out of Maryland. Chargers are next up at 86. Got them an edge and linebacker. I think, do we go tight end now? Do we go Harold Fannin? I think we go Harold Fannin. Yeah, I think that's an easy pick, honestly. Give me Harold Fannin to the Chargers at 86. And is this our last pick? It is. Chiefs at 95 is the last pick of the draft. Got him Josh Connerly, got him Tate Ratledge, as well as Shamar Turner. Do we give them a tight end as well? Gunnar Helm? Do we give the Chiefs Gunnar Helm? Possibly. Could just double, just get even more linemen, get Wyatt Millen. They do need safety help, and you do have Sebastian Castro and Andrew Makuba. And Makuba, he can play in the box, he could play deep, he could play some slot. Very versatile. I think Steve Spagnuolo could really utilize him very well. So I'm going to give the Chiefs, his average draft position is 95, and the Chiefs have picked 95. It makes too much sense. They need safety. Give me Andrew Makuba. I think I'm saying that. I don't know if I'm saying that right or not. All right. Quick look at the draft picks here for our AFC West mock draft. Raiders went Abdul Carter at 6. Broncos went Luther Burden at 20. Chargers went Mike Green at 22. Chiefs went Josh Connerly at 31. Raiders went Jack Beck at 37. Broncos, we got them Cam Scadaboo at 51. Got the Chargers Demetrius Knight at 55. Chiefs went Shamar Turner at 63, and then Tate Ratledge at 66. Quinshon Judkins to the Raiders at 68. Broncos Jordan Phillips at 85. Chargers Harold Fannin Jr. at 86. And then finally, Chiefs Andrew Makuba at 95. And that will conclude our AFC West mock draft. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. And if you're new here, hit the subscribe button. It helps a lot. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.